Well, this is Zen Xander, and I'm late to the party. I have just recently watched Star Wars The Last Jedi, and I don't really know if my viewers want to hear my opinion on it or not, but I figured I'd give it to you. Yeah, I'm not here to do vlogs. Mostly, I'm here to do first impressions of games that I've purchased. But, I don't know. Okay, to give you some background information, I actually avoided all spoilers on this movie. And I do mean all spoilers. The only spoiler I had was that I knew the movie existed. And I didn't actually see any trailers on it. And I didn't actually see anyone's reply to it. So I went in with a 100% unbiased opinion. Only my own biased opinion based on how I like Star Wars. So I watched it, uh, and I walked out of the theater. I've had a couple days to digest it, to sleep on my opinion, and now to think that I didn't like it. Uh, I can't explain why. At least I couldn't explain why until after I got home, slept on it, woke up, and then decided to watch, finally, some criticism on the movie, thinking that their criticism and my recent viewing of it would somehow form my own opinion. Because I think I had my own opinion, but I didn't know what to say about it. I didn't know how to articulate it. And so I saw some people posting that SJWs have ruined it. That was like my first review that I read. And then I stopped there and said, okay, wait a minute. The only SJW vibe I got from it was the purple hair chick. Forgive me for not knowing these names, but they didn't stick out in my head. Maybe that's a valid criticism for the movie, that I don't remember these characters' names. Maybe that's a problem with the movie. I'll try to analyze that later. But I said, okay, when I first saw Purple Hair Chick, some admiral or vice admiral, whatever, she seemed to be under Princess Leia, I don't know. I said, okay, I don't think they're pandering to the SJW audience. Star Wars has had unique hairstyles in the past. Star Wars also has thousands and thousands of alien races, and maybe this character's hairstyle is just the thing. You know, maybe in this particular universe, purple is a natural evolution of human DNA. Who the fuck knows? But I I initially saw her face and hair and thought SJW, and then as I saw her character progress, I didn't quite think SJW. So I'm like, okay, maybe my thoughts are unfounded on that. Fine. Uh, the I saw Rogue One story, and Poe. He was there, and I said, okay, he's back. Is he gonna be the new Wedge Antilles? Because in the expanded Star Wars universe, you know that Wedge is actually a very loved character. So I thought Poe might be the new Wedge, which is fine. I actually wish they had gotten the actor to play Wedge to be in this somewhere. I don't know if that guy's even still alive, and I don't even remember his name. Guys, I say I'm a Star Wars fan, but I never researched these characters, the actor names. Because Wedge Antilles, the fictional character, his actor doesn't seem to appear on talk shows and makes appearances. And I'm sorry to say that it's presence that gives you the name recognition. So I only know this actor by his Wedge Antilles and in the expanded Star Wars universe. But I was hoping to see that actor again. Maybe he meets Poe, right? There could be some potential there. You know, maybe they start the Rogue Squadron. Oh, dude, that's a great plotline. But that didn't happen, so let's not delve too deeply into fan fiction again. That's what the expanded Star Wars universe is, right? Fan fiction. But it's established fan fiction to the point where people consider it canon. Okay, but let's push it aside for a minute and keep talking. So Purple Hair Chick didn't quite bother me the way that the review I saw and the subsequent 2 reviews about SJW did. Um, I didn't like the fact that Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, somehow uses the Force to pull herself out of a vacuum. Okay? Um, that's just stupid. I can accept the science fiction of the Star Wars universe where we have shielding in place, ray shielding, that is like particle shielding in the Star Trek universe. It is shielding that lets bomb bay doors open to vacuum and not suck out all of the oxygen and people and equipment and everything else, right? I get that. So we have ray shielding. They say ray shielding is supposed to protect against lasers, so physical projectiles, proton torpedoes, right, are supposed to be how you get through it. Well, I can accept the fact that we can open up doors to space and have a shielding mechanism in place, because we saw that in Empire Strikes Back. The whole Millennium Falcon in the asteroid and the jaws down, and then they run up into... It's like, where is the airlock, right? There is no airlock. So you would surmise that there is technology in place to remove the need for an airlock and a decompression or a compression chamber, because that would just add undue time to the story. So, and that actually has been established in the expanded Star Wars universe. So it didn't bother me that you could have doors open, and we saw that actually in A New Hope when the Millennium Falcon gets sucked into the Death Star for the first time, and it comes in. My brain initially thought, when I first saw that movie, I must have been 12. It's interesting because I actually saw Empire Strikes Back before I saw A New Hope, and I actually saw Return of the Jedi before I saw Empire Strikes Back. My dad had the Betamax of Return of the Jedi, and I saw that. Didn't understand any of it. Didn't know why this Death Star looked like an incomplete ball. I'm thinking, why the fuck can't it look like a real ball? I mean, that movie came out in 1984. The first time I saw it was 1985, and I'm 5 years old, and I think this ball looks fucking stupid. It needs to be complete. I didn't have the background. Okay? But then I saw Empire Strikes Back on HBO, of all places, and then I got for Christmas A New Hope. And so I actually saw them in reverse order, but I didn't actually hate the movies after that. Whole nother vlog on that experience. Even though I've given you half of it already, there's still more to talk about. Point is I've understood that there is some sort of technology in place to barrier you from the vacuum. So I didn't get that. I didn't care about that. But that Princess Leia can somehow use the Force and pull herself out of an already vacuum to keep herself alive was fucking stupid. Okay? Fucking stupid. I thought that would be a good end to that character. Later on in the movie, I thought that she shouldn't have been sucked out of the airlock. That purple hair chick should have. And that Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, should have been the one to ram the... not Empire's, not Death Superstar Destroyer with the Calamari Cruiser. Or is it not Calamari Cruiser? Fuck, we don't even know anymore. Because there's no more established canon. You know? All the shit I know from 25 years of reading the expanded universe is gone! So, who knows? But what I do know is I think that was a dumb way to end Princess Leia's... she wasn't even dead in that movie, but we know that Carrie Fisher is dead now. So actually, I wish they had killed her character off in that movie. And I actually thought they should have done it when I walked out of the movie theater. I said to myself, why couldn't have it had been Princess Leia? We've already killed Han Solo. Why can't we kill Princess Leia and having her ram the not Superstar Destroyer with the not Calamari Cruiser? I mean, why can't we have that? Purple Hair Chick seemed to be a useless addition because every scene with her could have been Princess Leia. And then whatever. So, purple hair chick is not necessary in the entire movie. Plus, I didn't know what it was at the time, but I just didn't like her. Uh, anyway, so then we have Chinese girl. What the fuck is her name? I don't fucking know. That's the problem with this movie. You don't know until you do research. And then people talk about it. It doesn't stick with you. And I don't even know her name. Flower, Rose. Did I remember that coming out of the theater? No. That's a problem with the film. An established Star Wars fan doesn't know one of your characters in it. Now, if you're going to bring up the argument that I don't know the names of all of the council members in A New Hope, and I only know Tarkin because of the expanded Star Wars universe, you may think you have a valid argument. But that we didn't know the council's name in A New Hope, where Vader strangles that guy, that's actually not important, and here's why. Most of those guys don't even have a dialogue scene, and the ones that do, it's just establishing the scene. Those characters aren't important to the plot to move forward. So, but purple hair chick and Chinese chick are important to move the plot forward. That's the difference. If you don't think that's a valid difference, then you need to go back to Storytelling 101, go back to fucking film school, and not go to film school by some SJW propagandist bullshit, and go to film school by some real professors who know what the fuck they're talking about. Because obviously you wasted your goddamn degree. Because that's not good storytelling. That I don't remember these characters' names after I leave the theater. Okay? It's not. So we have Chinese chick and purple hair chick. That's the fuck all I know about them. So then that leads into Finn. He should have died in this movie, and he didn't. Because Chinese chick comes in at the last moment and rams him, and that's a romance that comes out of nowhere. It comes out of nowhere. They never established that they had a romantic relationship. Hell, even in Empire Strikes Back, there was a subtle, was it overtone or undertone, that Han Solo and Princess Leia were developing chemistry. They had a kiss moment. C-3PO ruins it. They had a Cloud City moment. I think it's an undertone because it's not present. It's not in your face like my hands are right now. It's behind my head. You know it's there, but it's never actually addressed. It's something that you infer based on context clues. Got it. So, the overtone, the undertone of the romance between Chinese chick and Finn, I'd almost call him the black dude, but you didn't call Lando Calrissian the black dude because he had good character development, even in the few scenes he was in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And Finn grew on me as a character, so he's not the black character, he's Finn now. So I can accept that. That's fine. I like that characters grow on you over time. Good. So Chinese chick and Finn wants to escape, but he has two motives to escape. One, he's terrified, and two, he actually has the band that tracks Leia's daughter to her. And daughter? Son. What the fuck ever. It tracks family, and he wants to actually take this band away from the ship so that if they trace it down... Oh, no, it was Chinese chick and Finn. No, it was Chinese chick and... Chinese chicken Poe went off. So she says this band is a thing, and he's trying to get away because he doesn't want them to come back to a destroyed ship, whatever, I think. That's also a problem. I don't have the details clear in my head. Then again, I guess after 2 or 3 watchings of the movie, I might. But he had two motives. One, cowardice. But 2 was more noble. And Chinese chick didn't see it that way. Rose. Yeah, Rose. Whatever. Chinese chick. Just Chinese chick. No one remembers her name unless you badger it into your head. She tasers him, but he wins her over. Sort of. Then Poe and Chinese chick go off on their own little side adventure. More on that a little later. Main plot, I don't understand how purple hair chick and Poe, it's a mutiny, right? And at the end of the movie, I like him. I like him too. You know, before purple hair chick does her whole sacrifice thing. And I'm like, okay, if they like him, if they like his roguish, brazen, fuck authority nature, then they really should have kept him in the loop. All right? So that they didn't is stupid. The way the purple hair chick kills herself is stupid. Because, yeah, sacrifice is a theme in this movie. But purple hair chick's sacrifice makes no sense in the context that she had this plan all along. And yet she didn't initially command all 3 ships to evacuate so that the Not Empire is now chasing husk vessels, right? Blowing up husk vessels. Therefore, yeah, the second time they kill the ship, you do see transports being sent away from the second ship and docking with the main ship, but how many people did they actually evacuate before it blew up? I mean, seriously, she could have said, I got an idea. You guys, before you run out of fuel, here, first off, evacuate all ships, put them on autopilot, slave them to my ship. Everyone transports over to her ship. Bingo, step 1. Step 2, let them think they have a sense of security by blowing up 1 and 2. And then I'll turn around and hyperspace in. But I'm only going to do that. I'm only going to send my ship as a bullet into that ship after everyone has escaped. If she had done that from the beginning, and the audience was in the know, but the characters weren't, then we could sympathize with purple hair, not SJW chick, right? But we kind of can't. Now you might say, well, that develops her as a character. But that you don't care about her even after her sacrifice says something about storytelling. It says I don't give a fuck that she's dead. If Princess Leia had done it instead and sent purple hair chick off into the horizon, off into the horizon there, then that actually would have been great, because purple hair chick then could have been in the next movie and we could have actually established her as a character more. But you can't introduce a new character like that and then have them sacrifice themselves in the same movie with 6 lines of dialogue and 10 minutes of screen time. You can't do that without people questioning the motives behind the script. So, again, this is not scripted. This is me talking about it, but I'm trying to create my script as I go in a flowing narrative. So, I think that as the story progressed, that was wrong. As we're talking about her sacrifice, when she could have easily have evacuated the ships to begin with, and the Not Empire, First Order, Not Empire, fuck it. The Not Empire would have been blowing up husks of ships and wouldn't even know about it. She kept Poe in the loop. If she had, Poe wouldn't have gone off on his side quest, all right? Which ultimately ended up to be pointless anyway, except for one plot point, which I'll get to you in a minute, that they should have developed on a lot more in the Star Wars universe. They should have, and I'll get to that in a second. I digress. Back to the main story. If she had just kept Poe in the know, that side quest never would have happened, and Poe could have pretended to be upset about it, and they could have had an established scene where they decide that it's in the interest of the crew that the crew is not in the know, but that they too are. Her and the 2 other admirals of the 2 other vessels that are being blown up, but they've already evacuated, you know. So 4 people only are in the know, and he's playing along with it. That would have been fine. That would have been character development. So I didn't like purple hair chick. Phasma, I'm going to just jump to her real quick because we're on the topic of females. I know her only because of how much they talk about her name. Silver Stormtrooper Armor chick. Phasma. Whatever her name is. Phasma. I hope that they would have developed her more, and she dies. And my brain said, killing her off makes no sense because you killed off the Not Emperor. So you need someone to carry on the Not Empire struggle, right? And you don't have that anymore. You have the not Anakin Skywalker emo son. You have him, and you have the not child of Leia, Rey. You see how I keep saying not? It's because there were expectations we had that didn't follow through. And I'm not upset if my expectations don't turn out the way I expect them to. It's just nothing happened that makes me happy that it turned out the way it did. Okay, so all of those points I've mentioned, Phasma's death was stupid. I thought that Phasma actually wouldn't die because Boba Fett fan fiction says he didn't die in the Sarlacc pit, and Phasma gets thrown off, not Emperor style, into a not Emperor death pit with all of her armor on. So is she dead? Probably. But we would fan fiction could easily write her in as not dying. We don't know anything about the armor she wears. As far as non-canon comic books, Phasma's cloak was lightsaber resistant. As far as canon, it's mentioned that her cloak is the same material, but it's not mentioned that that material is lightsaber resistant. So again, they're like mixing the fan fiction with not in this case, and I don't like it because they're too ambiguous. They're not clear enough. I don't really care about clarity, but when you introduce all of these plot points and then subsequently destroy them, then I do care. All the plot points as in what I'm talking about. And now let's go back to the subplot with Chinese girl and Poe going off to the casino place. The only reason I liked that entire subplot, it didn't actually ultimately go anywhere, which was an entire letdown, but I like the fact that they brought on board not who they were looking for, but a hacker of some kind who plays both sides. I like the fact that they brought in a guy who just makes deals for his survival, and he also introduced Chinese chick and Poe to the fact that the ship they stole was a dealer for both sides. And what if Star Wars went down this route? There's not just a clear-cut good and evil. Let's camera. Good and evil at this point. Maybe Star Wars could go down the route of the middleman. Maybe it could go down the route of, look, war makes people profit. Profiteers off of war are a thing. You could have that theme in the entire Star Wars universe, and it would make sense because there have been characters like Niles Ferris who does it in the expanded Star Wars universe. There are characters who play both sides, and they only do it because they know it's profitable. They don't perpetuate the war, but they sell things to both sides, or they deal with both sides. And that's a real thing. Hell, the U.S. government does it. We sell arms to known terrorists to keep up the war so we can sell. I don't have justification for that. I don't have any sources to prove that. But I've been shown unverifiable sources that it's true, and while I have to take that with the biggest grain of salt in the universe, I don't believe my government is above doing that. So the fact that it could be nonfiction, or most likely is nonfiction, makes me feel that this whole element of playing both sides should absolutely have been expanded upon. But it really wasn't. And the guy who plays both sides does get off scot-free, because not Empire, First Order, actually upholds their end of the bargain. They give him his money and send him on his way. I absolutely thought they would be the asshole douches and kill him. But they didn't. So hats off to that part. So there are nuggets of good storytelling in this movie. But when I walked out of the theater, I didn't feel anything. And then I finally found out that the lady on board, who's the executive producer, whatever her fucking name is, bragged that half her executive crew is female and 6 of her 8 writers are female. And that she toted a t-shirt around during production of the film saying the Force is female. When I found these indisputable facts, as in these are facts, this isn't conjured, I didn't make this up. I verified these, at least. Suddenly, pieces just fell into place. And I said, oh, she had an agenda. This was an SJW film. Maybe they tried to hide it. That's probably why I liked parts of the movie. And maybe even assholes who don't know how to write storytelling can still get pretty good storytelling in pieces throughout a film. This was the longest Star Wars film to date. And only 40 minutes of it don't have females in them. That's interesting. Almost like a 2 hour and 40 minute film. 2 hour, 20-minute film. You know? Only that much time. Anyway, I don't want to derail too much into that. We can talk all day about that if you post in the comments below. We can do that. But yeah, this movie's script had an agenda. And when I discovered that, then pieces fell into place. It wasn't like I had gone into the movie knowing this information and written my subsequent feelings on the movie based on a bias when I went in. I actually had no bias, as you know, going into this film. And now I think I understand where my disappointment for the film comes from. A feminist narrative agenda. You know, even is it J.J. Abrams? He should come back and do the next movie. Disney did not do well in giving creative control over some woman with an agenda like this. And they wonder why Star Wars toys aren't selling well. You know? Trying to give most of the screen time to females and trying to have a diverse cast. I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't have diversity for the sake of diversity and make people like it. You can't say, oh, equal screen time for females and males, because I'm sorry to say, at the end of the day, the best movies ever have been directed, produced by men. If you just look at the stats. I'm not saying women can't do this really well, but women with an agenda cannot. This is a man's industry, filmmaking. Women actresses have been in it since the beginning, but for women to take the role of creating film, if they have an agenda, they're not a good creator of art. They're just another political bullet point. So I've talked enough about that. Just saying, I was disappointed. I figured out why after the fact, and I've explained to you that I think that there were plots of the story that could have gone places that didn't, and plot points of the story that made no sense. So, tell me what your thoughts are on this movie. Now, comment below. I'll play a new game today or tomorrow as well, because my channel is mostly about first impressions of games now. And thank you for those who have recently subscribed to me. Thank you very much. So that's all I have to say about this. Late to the party, Star Wars, whatever the hell its subtitle was. What is its subtitle? The Last Jedi. Oh, and a final note. I did not mind how they killed off Luke Skywalker. And when Luke Skywalker milked the creature with the milk, here's my thoughts on that real quick. Just real quick. I didn't care about it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was actually a good chuckle moment. Pretty good chuckle moment. But a nugget in my back of my head said, you know there's going to be someone offended by this. And I was worried about the movie only because my brain told me there's going to be a giant backlash because of this. If we weren't in today's third world feminism, post fucking retarded ass people's agenda, if we were still in 1995's world, that would just be a chuckle moment. That would be a Jar Jar Binks moment. Okay, but it wouldn't have outstayed its welcome like Jar Jar Binks did. So it would have been something people could have made memes about and had jokes about, but it wouldn't have been a bullet point of contention for the film. So I found it funny. I didn't find it to be upsetting. I just wish that my brain didn't tell me, oh, there's going to be backlash. And guess what? There was. Okay, I said in brief, and I think I've talked too long about brief. Ask me any more questions about any points of the movie I didn't bring up, and I will explain to them in detail in the comments below. Thank you for watching this. More content soon. Zen Xander, out.